Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we're back again with another war video and we're on path 9. This is the first war of season 11 and we're starting off with Aegis intercept node where we have Domino. Now I did not have any opponents on Aegis heavy, that's why there is nothing to record in that fight. But as we can see here, we swiftly took care of 3 intercepts against Domino. Now we are free to play as normal. Just need to be careful to check when we do phase, when we don't phase, and basically not get evaded. But for most part we're going to try and stick to one-hit combos. Now there we triggered backup recovery, so we're going to bait out the level 2 and we're going to punish that level 2, few more hits. Now that was a bit risky because she could have evaded, but we finished off the fight super quickly. Now heads up guys, this is going to be quite a long war video including a boss kill because yeah, we did have many fights in it. Now here is one of the masked opponents and has Aegis heavy with 6 indestructible charges, long distance relationship and some other stuff. So since I did not know the opponent and I didn't really want to wait for anybody else, I just took in Quake and it was like, oh, let's just see what happens. So it turned out to be Annihilus. So worst thing in this matchup for Quake is the fact that her heavy attack is only 1 hit. That means we will actually have to land 6 hits at Annihilus. However, Annihilus himself isn't really a bad matchup for Quake. So here we got 2 heavy attacks in already. For some reason in my head, because I read Aegis heavy 3, I thought it's gonna be only 3 heavy attacks I need to land, but I realized it's 6 later on. And even though the time is ticking, I'm not too worried. I definitely know I can out damage this one. So the plan here is just wait for when he gets stunned, when we can heavy him safely. And here, there was a mistake. I should have run in and launched another heavy attack. Now Annihilus is like catching me here and there. I had indestructible boost active from previous fight. I forgot to mention that I used it on Domino just to be safe. Luckily we did not need it in that fight. And against Annihilus, now that we have gotten rid of all of his debuffs, we just need to bait out at level 2, and then we can start basically doing what Quake does. Now I'm just going to take this in block, have some debuffs on us, and part of my plan actually involves taking some hits in block, and hopefully Annihilus places some debuffs on us so we can get that willpower heal on us and actually heal up a bit of health. But for most part, now we have a minute and like 40 left in the fight. He's at 80%. We have a bunch of weaknesses on, so I do want to push him away or keep him away from me for part of the time, but that debuff also helps me kind of like to regen my health. And yeah, so at this point we only have a minute and 20 left in the fight. It is a bit of a quirky matchup. Probably wouldn't say Quake is perfect for this, but still she is dealing with the fight just fine. We have some weaknesses on us. That was most annoying bit, kind of like that I want to get rid of them. And yeah, so at this point we have 2 weaknesses on us. It's not too bad. So long as I don't go past like 5, we should be fine. And now he's at 13%. We still have a minute nearly left in the fight. And so it looks like we're going to be able to close out this fight fairly decently well. At this point we finished on 70% health. So that's not too bad considering suicides were constantly ticking away at us. And that is pretty much it for my contribution in the first part of the war, because at this point I go to bed. Then I woke up next morning and I realized that basically guys were waiting for somebody to clear either of these mini bosses before they were moving on. So I saw a MODOK, he has explosive personality, some armor ups, aggression armor, don't care, Quake can take this. This war will require me to use some items mainly because of like couple of mistakes, but running Quake with suicides typically basically asks for a potion fight at least. So here we're putting on some small boosts, 10% attack boost, 10% champion boosts. I probably didn't need them, but just to be sure kind of thing. And yeah, so we have MODOK and we're just gonna do what Quake does. Fairly easy fight for Quake, nothing difficult over there. Now MODOK's heavy attack, if he does launch it, does take a bit of practice to be able to evade it with Quake, but you can treat it basically as a regular hit combo because you can alternate in between your dexterity and heavy attack, evade, and you will be more or less fine there. So now as you can see here, MODOK is at 35% health, we're at 75% health. Fight is going smooth, absolutely no surprises. Now there, he started to launch his heavy attack, but stun kicked in, so that's fairly convenient. I didn't have to attempt in a way that heavy attack can potentially fail at it. And here is another instance where he throws a heavy attack and the stun kicks in. So it worked out quite well for us. He has 8-9 armor ups on him, but Quake doesn't really care about it. Now I just need to wait for these concussions to kick in, and that's it. MODOK is down, so that fight took about a minute and 1 second to be exact, and we're done. So now we're gonna move on to section 2. Now section 2, I am still on path 9, that is inverted controls. And once again, we're going to be using Quake for most part, because inverted controls are fairly easy for Quake, especially if you can stun opponent, because then you can just parry heavy. And since this is like a season war, we're going to be playing better safe than sorry. Therefore, we're just going to be using our parry heavy technique, and we're not going to be trying to wait every single attack opponents throw at us. And besides, against Captain Marvel, it's actually not a bad idea to take those parries, just because she has a chance to armor break you on block, and that can give you some willpower heal as well. So yeah, anyways, it's a fairly basic fight. There's going to be nothing overly complicated here. Stun kicks in, we heavy the Captain Marvel, she's at 55%, we are half a minute in the fight, so she's going down fairly quickly. We have an armor break on us that's helping us to deal with the poison damage via willpower, but yeah, so 18-19 concussion charge, she's gonna be nearly dead, so we're just gonna drop a heavy attack there, and that's gonna finish off the fight. Very simple, under a minute, reverse controls, fight done and dusted. Now I'm gonna move up as much as I can and then basically wait for some more energy. And now that we have had the energy filled up, we're gonna go in reverse controls Mr. Sinister. Again, we're putting on some of the smaller boosts, just because I feel a bit stingy, don't want to keep on boosting and boosting and boosting, but this time I'm going to be taking a few fights in a row, therefore I figured I might as well, I suppose. And now we're going to go against Mr. Sinister, and there is going to be a small mishap at the beginning of the fight. I messed up and I ate a heavy attack. But aside from that, the fight should be fairly simple and set. Once again, it's reversed controls, therefore there's going to be no antics. We're going to simply take our Quake and parry heavy, and that's it. And since the Quake is rank 5, we're running suicides, we have small boosts on. Mr. Sinister should be going down fairly quickly. So now it's like the second set of aftershock charges kicking in. He's at 50%, so we should be able to close this fight somewhere within a minute mark as well. And that is like perfectly good pace for Quake, because quite often, like in the longer fights with Quake, the longer you fight, the harder it is to keep the focus on. But if you're like running suicides, and if the fights last like minute and a half, then they're really not all that difficult, especially if you're parrying, heavying. And yeah, so under a minute, Mr. Sinister goes down, reverse controls, absolutely no problem there. Now we're going to deal with that Kingpin, and we're going to be using Ghost in this fight, so it's like close encounters, Kingpin basically. I don't remember what else he has on. I'm going to put on the regen boost, but I'm also going to be using it for next fight, kind of like to help Quake with her damage from poison. And yeah, so Kingpin is fairly easy. He has like protective shielding, but every time we crit, that kind of gets nullified and goes into cooldown. So at this point, pretty much just need to bait out some level 1, get our own level 2, drop that one, and I think the fight is going to be pretty much over. There's nothing difficult about fighting Kingpin whilst using Ghost. So yeah, we're dropping our level 2, we have Wasp synergy, so our level 2 was unblockable either way, and we finished off the fight super early, 23 hits, so yeah, it's a really quick fight. Now we're going to be going up against this Medusa mini-boss, I suppose. I think I'm going to make a mistake here though, because I'm going to heal up and I'm going to end up eating some hits to the face, but nothing too big, nothing too major. So this has like kinetic something. So base idea is if she hits our block, she's gonna gain power. Therefore, we're gonna have to avoid every single attack she throws at us, and that is exactly what we're doing. This time, instead of heavy parry, we're gonna be relying on heavy dex. And yeah, there I made a mistake and ate nearly a full combo, which cost me like quite a bit of health. But At least we still have the regen boost active, so we're recovering a bit of health at this point. And yeah, there are no more surprises to be expected in this fight. So long as I don't mess up, we're good. So Medusa is at 67%. Once again, like fairly quick fight for Quake. She doesn't really have much problems dealing with Medusa. And another set of charges are about to expire, so she's at 24%. I think we're just gonna need one more set to take down that Medusa and then move on to the middle section. And yeah, so we did drop a heavy there. She was under stun and we just rushed in and hit her again and finished off the fight. And yeah, as I mentioned before, we are taking a lot of fights in this war. So now we're moving on to the middle and we're going to be going to Dismay Immune mini-boss. And that is Stealth Spider-Man. Now, Stealth Spider-Man is actually a fairly tricky opponent to face, especially if you haven't used to him too much, kind of like, because he's a new champion. And like with Ghost, it's tricky to face him just because of that double medium hit he has initially. So that's one thing that's going to be tripping me off a bit. Second bit is I need to remember to always just do one hit when he has his evade active, because that can potentially be a problem. And yeah, playing Ghost, you kind of have that tricky timing, because when he dashes in at you and he throws his medium, because it takes longer time than regular hits, and that also means that you need to be much more careful with your phase. That's why you're going to see me take a bunch of hits in a block, because I wasn't too certain if my phase was going to be long enough to phase entire medium, including second hit. So it is a bit of a kind of sketchy fight. Definitely could have played better in this one. And also, I did not realize that this Stealth Suit Spidey is a metal champion, therefore he gets benefit from Bulwark node. What does that mean? Every time we deal a bunch of damage, he goes indestructible, and like in our level 2 case, our first hit makes him indestructible, and then he takes no damage for the next 2 hits. So that kind of annoyed me. I was a bit mad at myself that I didn't realize it would happen that way. But overall, it's not too big of a deal. We're still dealing decent amount of damage. He's nearly down. We're at 69%. We finished off with level 1. Wasn't anything too bad. We didn't get hit in the face, because that could have potentially been dangerous, especially with Dismay on us. But overall, might not have been the cleanest fight, but it wasn't anything too tragic either. Now, initially, I thought at that point that my war was over. I thought some other guys are going to take the final mini-bosses. However, turns out I got asked to do the rest of the left side mini-bosses. And then we have Emma Frost that has enhanced special 1 and stun immunity. And we're going to be taking in Ghost for that. Now, I did use invulnerability boost here just because occasionally if Emma Frost special 1 is unblockable, it does catch me, because I kind of forget that I have to evade it, especially with Ghost, because I'm used to phasing all the specials. So I do know that you can't phase her special 1, therefore here we get a perfect evade, and we're moving on as planned. We're basically building up to our level 2, but we will make that mistake where we're just gonna back off, phase the level 1, and then realize that we can't phase it like right here. So we ate that level 1, but our indestructible boost helped us with that, and then I kind of quickly realized what I did wrong, and we're good to go. I'm not afraid of this MS level 1 anymore. And yeah, the fight is nearly over here, so we're gonna await the last level 1. It isn't too kind of difficult of a thing to do once you're used to it. Drop our own level 2. The fight is over, like 50 seconds, not too difficult of a fight. And now we're moving on to 200% power gain enhanced level 2 Stark Spider-Man, and we're simply going to be taking in Quake for this. It's nothing, again, too difficult in this fight. I think for most part I'm actually going to be resorting to parry heavy here as well, just because this is the last fight of the war. I don't care about the level of my health. There is no limber. There is pretty much no reason not to parry. But yeah, there I got like a big jump scare with that beautiful problems connection icon, and that did in fact scare me. Especially because today, throughout the day, I had a couple of instances where I had problems with connection and it actually disconnected me from the game, but luckily it's all good. We're here in the fight with Quake, dealing with the Stark Spider-Man, doing some parries and charging heavy attack. Absolutely no problem at all. Once again, since this is a season war, much better to be safe than sorry, and if there is no reason for us not to parry, then it's definitely still safer just to rely on parry, especially because Stark Spidey can hit fairly hard. So now he's at 6%. I just need last set of our aftershock charges to build up, and now he goes down. And then, as I mentioned before, we're also going to get some boss action. So as you can see here, there are still a couple of mini bosses waiting to be taken down before we can actually go in and fight the boss. Now that they are taken care of, we're just gonna go in. We still have a couple of minutes on our boost that we applied earlier, and we're not gonna use any kind of specific boost. It's just a rank 2 6-star Corvus, so it shouldn't be anything too difficult so long as he plays nice. And yeah, it's Ghost. So Ghost's kind of biggest advantage against bosses is that she can pretty much ignore the fact that they are stun immune and get easy openings. Also in case of Corvus, there is just unhindered fight, and yeah, Ghost is really good matchup against Corvus realistically, just because the main point of a boss as Corvus is just because he can do a lot of block damage when you try and block bait heavies, and Ghost does not have to kind of do that. But yeah, anyway, so while the final fight is happening against the boss, as you can see here, we're doing well. We're doing some massive level 2s, phasing the little ones, punishing them, and everything is fine in this camp. But yeah, that is going to be pretty much it for today's war. I hope you guys did enjoy it. I will try to upload as many of these wars as I can this season, and yeah, I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, do not forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit all the buttons, share to your friends. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I am going to see you guys later. Oh yeah, we did end up losing the war, but yeah, that's me done now for real. See ya.